Hello, my name is Kalina, and today I will be going over my mathematic content journal article. And I am doing first grade, and my topic is subtraction within 20. The two mathematic content centers I chose for grade level 1 is CCSS Math Content 1.0A.8.1. And then I also chose CCSS Math Content 1.0A.C6. And I feel like these two mathematic context centers are geared towards my topic of subtraction within 20. So these two mathematic context centers are context centers that are from lower grade and upper grade of first grade. And I feel like these two context centers fit best for subtraction within 20 because in kindergarten they're going to be learning how to only add and subtract within 10, while in second grade they're going to learn how to fluently add and subtract within 100 using the same strategies that we are learning from kindergarten, first grade, onto second grade. So my first article is called Subtraction, Decomposition, and Argumentation by these three authors. The first idea is that students in first grade have been successful at solving addition problems with two-digit numbers, so the important goal for students is to build conceptual understanding. In order to build conceptual understanding, it is important to ask students what they notice and wonder. So students will work in small groups to explore. By exploring, they're going to be looking at subtraction problems and asking themselves what they wonder and what they notice. And because of this, students are beginning to develop conjectures. And an example is that when they look at numbers, if the second number is big, that means that they will have to decompose. And if the second number is small, then you don't need to decompose. So these are just what students will wonder and notice from looking at subtraction problems. So for key idea number 3, students were able to visually see subtraction problems using 10 frames. The 10 frames show crossing off in the first frame for big numbers, but the 10 frames show you that you don't need to cross off the first 10 frame for the small numbers. So as a result, they were able to modify and share the pair of conjectures. So kind of modify what they said from before for what they are visually seeing. And because of this, the teacher is giving students an open-ended task that will provide multiple examples for them to analyze. So teachers will pose questions to encourage students to notice the patterns. Like by patterns, by noticing what they are seeing from using the 10 frames to help support their thinking of subtraction. And so students are able to test out their conjectures and share their thinking with the whole class. And then key idea number 5, the 4 layers of argumentation is a helpful framework for building on students' curiosity. And this can be very helpful for students that are learning subtraction. So on this slide, this is the 4 layers of argumentation. This is an example. And then if you notice on the left, there is notice and wonder. So those are what students are noticing and wondering when it comes to looking at math problems. So here it has an example of what they're seeing from a subtraction problem. And then conjectures is what they are for sure like saying and noticing from looking at the math problem. And then justifying, how they justifying where they got the big numbers or where we decompose or not decompose. So they were used their evidence of using 10 frames to justify how they came up with this conclusion. And because of this, students are able to share their conjectures and justify how they came up to this. And then teachers can modify what they are saying by correcting them, like, oh, I think you're trying to say that this number is something else, and this is this and this now. Overall, this article connects to subtraction and teaching because teachers can use the 4 layers of argumentations to support students' curiosity about math. Students know how to solve the problems, however, they do not know how to explain what they have done to get to the answer. So the 4 layers of argumentation allow students to explore and learn their understanding by solving math problems and getting corrected by teachers. And then the next article is Helping Students Understand Subtraction by Anita Page. The key idea is that to use a chart with headings that has start with, take away, and have left. The chart can help students explore subtraction. Children can use manipulatives in the problem to represent items. And the key idea number 2 is introduce the concept of subtraction as takeaway. Give the students snacks as manipulatives. Students will eat as much as they want to and save the rest. The teacher will take down data using the chart, and students will discover the relationship among numbers. So on this slide, here's an example of what the chart will look like. So on the far left, there's start with, and then in the middle there's take away, and then on the right, there's have left. Continuing on key idea number 3, it is important to introduce manipulatives and tell subtraction stories to students, reinforcing the meaning in the circle and out of circle. This can help students distinguish between pieces that are part of the story and those that are not. And another key idea is to introduce students to create their own story problems and to have them solve them. Introduce the language of how many items start with and how many to take away. Find out how many are left. Model the different types of language forms. And in key idea number 5, continue exploring the relationship between algorithm positions. Have students explore subtraction using counters and math to record their findings. Examples: if I start with the number 8 and your takeaway number is 4, what will you have left? And then key idea number 6, it is important to introduce the algorithm by presenting a story problem and having them solve and record their solution. Introduce the meaning of minus and equal sign, similar to addition. So this article connects to subtraction in teaching because it helps teachers teach students to understand the relationship between the concept and the numerical representation with subtraction. It is important to link children's experience to math through language and encourage students to explore mathematical relationship. In subtraction, students should be able to understand taking away objects. And then at the end, this is my reference for number 1 and number 2.